So, what have you seen of all the either reactions or any of the actual base footage of any of like the Summer Games Fest or State of Play, or did you see all the Final Fantasy stuff, the Tifa and Street Fighter 6 stuff,
Yeah,
and the
I
new
saw.
characters?
Yeah, I saw some of the things. I saw the new characters for Street Fighter Six, Tifa.
I forget their
Anything?
name.
Yeah, I
Bosch.
forget. I think
Uh,
they're all those all original
they're
characters.
all
Oh,
new characters, yeah. And
okay,
apparently
okay.
Bosch, who his outfit at first I thought looked kind of almost similar to Donovan from Darkstalkers. Like
Huh.
his outfit just a
Okay.
tad, like maybe he's from the same region, I don't know, Latin America or, whatever country, whatever. But the main
Yeah.
thing is, so somebody said that he was in the story of Street Fighter 6. So like they've
Oh,
had
the
him,
okay. Yeah, I know you're talking
yeah, so
about.
like he was in the story in somebody else's playthrough or something,
So
or
he's in
maybe
the
you
world. He's like in
or
the
in the
world
world
tour.
tour area,
Yeah.
like maybe you run into him. Anyway, so I'm wondering if there's any chance some of the leaks were off. You know how we talked about the leaks and then they were all online about like
Oh
it was going
yeah.
to be Tifa and Hagar and Vega and whatever. Now I'm wondering if the leak saw like an image but without the names, right? Like let's say they had like let's say someone at Capcom, they had the graphic up, and at a quick glance, I could see that huge guy at the top, maybe some scrub that doesn't know any better, saw it in passing, and mistook it for, and maybe it was a leaked low quality image or something, and thought that was
Mm.
Hagar. I don't know how you get, or if it was just some rumor that they heard. But, yeah, and Bosch and the girl, I have no idea how they, those aren't even close to the characters that they thought it was going to be. But, so how do you
Right.
feel about it being first of all, how do you feel about it being four brand new characters that have never been in a Street Fighter?
Okay. Great question. Okay. See,
I
because I was
tried.
looking at because I've been looking at people mostly complaining, and my
Yeah.
thing is this: it's like I know that when it comes to games like Street Fighter, like the original 8 World Warriors, just
Of
like you
course.
have to have them in the
Yeah.
game. And then when you think about Street Fighter 3, when they tried to introduce
Yeah.
new characters, it almost killed the series.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm glad they're putting fresh characters in the game, but at the same time, I'm thinking, it's still a lot of characters left. If you look at the roster in Street Fighter 5, it's ridiculous some of the
Well,
characters.
okay, then I need to break a few things down, and I don't want to necessarily hog the spotlight, but I want to talk about a few thoughts that I have, and then I want to hear your input. So, first of all, are you surprised, or how do you feel that that it's just season 4, and it's not Ultra, or it's not Ultimate, or it's not a reiteration with new game mechanics like Street Fighter 5 had about halfway through the game, they
Okay.
released that rebalance, and they added like a second V trigger, and they added, to give the characters more options.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that not being the case and it just being season 4?
Okay. All right. I have to go back to when was Street Fighter 6, when Street Fighter 5 came out, with 2015 or 2016?
I have no idea.
It's one of the two, right? So let's
Okay.
say 2016. So
Okay.
that means, and they released Street Fighter 6 in 2023. So I guess what, it was like 5 years before they released like any type of like special edition. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? So
Anniversary or
yeah,
Ultra
so
or
right. Yeah,
Arcade or whatever it's called. Yeah.
right. So it was like 5 years into its lifespan. So right now we're just into going into the fourth year of Street Fighter 6.
Okay.
So maybe next year they might, because they're going to add more characters.
Yeah.
And I still would like to see, like I said, I think they're going to bring Dudley or hopefully Shine. I don't know
It'd
why
be
the fuck
nice.
they keep
Okay, so
twiddling their thumbs
I
with
have a
him.
couple things I need to interject before I forget. So here's the
Yeah.
thing: you put in brand new characters. I think it's a good thing, and I'll tell you one of the reasons why. But there's also a drawback. So like I have a friend, this friend of mine, Terrell, and he used to go to the arcade. I knew him from Wizards and stuff. So he really got into Street Fighter 4, and he was like playing at a very high level at the end, and like he was like a Hakan specialist.
Oh,
So,
the oil guy. Okay.
yeah, and he never came back to the game. And so this guy is so dedicated to that character that he has never played a Street Fighter since, because that character is not in the game. And that's the risk you run if you're putting all these new characters and that they're never going to come back, if they're going to be a one-off, one and done, kind of like, hey, they're in this iteration, they're in Street Fighter 6, but then here comes 7, a lot of these new characters introduced. Abel never comes back.
Never came back.
It's kind of tough. It's a drawback because people that get like 801 Strider was a very big, Abel user, and he did fairly well. He would get to like, top 8 or top 16 or, like somewhere in the higher ups a little bit. And look at like Justin and Ricky playing Rufus, never came back. So it was almost like a lot of these characters feel like a trial or an experiment, like, hey, does this work? Is there enough draw? But then maybe if they have some mechanic that's really broke, like that character with a dive kick, with a huge hitbox, with a a full screen ducking fierce, like almost Dulcim bad, like some of these weird things, and a little hop kick overhead, and all these things.
You make a really good point, because it was like I remember watching Button Check, and Nesto was talking about what is Dirty Low? He bringing on there, and he was like how in Street Fighter 5. Like Dirty Low, he refused to play Street Fighter 5 until they put Guile in, Guile in the game. And then when he finally, he started playing. But I never thought about the obscure characters, like, because like if you one of your mains is like one of the top, the 8 warriors, you good, because at some point they're coming back. But to pick Hakan or like El Fuente or some off-brand character like that, like people better be glad they brought C Viper back, because I didn't think she was coming back. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so this is where I want to go off a little bit, though, is that like, okay, yeah, it's a pro and a con at the same time. I feel, because here's the thing, you're not gonna have some characters that become that newer. I mean, okay, like let me use another example. Cammy was technically a new character, in Super Turbo, Cammy, Fei Long, whatever. Cammy has become like a staple of the Street Fighter. So if a character has enough demand or enough that this character could become as popular, if not more popular, than some of the original 8 World Warriors.
Jury's another one.
Yeah, Jury's been in, 3 games now? Like 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah, her popularity exploded.
And you have, people that really are high on, like, Rose and, whatever. There were other one-offs that, like, Manat, that, like, okay, she'll... And it's funny because a lot of these characters appeared in Street Fighter V story. They were drawn. It was, like, kind of comic book looking, but like they weren't playable in the game,
Yeah.
And then you even had stuff like DeCapri, and she was even playable somehow in Street Fighter V story mode or something, or was it Street Fighter 6?
Season 4.
No, I know, but she was unplayable in one of the games. Like she wasn't in 5, but
Yeah.
she was in the story mode of 5, and she was even
Oh,
playable in the story mode of 5. Like, I swore when there was a part in the story mode in 5 where you're playing as like one of the security guards for Shadow Law or something, or Shadow
yeah.
Loot, and like you're like this fat police officer with like billy clubs, kind of almost looking like a big boss man, kind of resembling one of the beat 'em up characters in Final
Final
Fight.
fight. Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, like they actually made him. They gave him special moves and they gave him a few things, or kind of like an eagle, a little bit like an eagle, but like a, you know, like a where he dashes forward and does a couple pokes or whatever. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh, maybe they're gonna like actually put this character in like as a free, you know, hey, with one of the seasons, we're just throwing him in, you know, and not that he has to be anything crazy. Probably he's a throwaway character, but for somebody who wants to play him, just a
He's
little
there.
variety and spice, and nothing ever happened with that. And DeCapre, she's in the game. She has her outfits and her costume. She looks, you know, kind of sick. She had some of her stuff from 4 or whatever, like, or whatever game it was. Where's the ball that she does, and the little kind of very kind of Ed-like. Maybe that's where they got that idea for Ed Super. They're like, hey, well, we took DeCapre out, let's give it to Ed, where he's got this slow, you know, thing that kind of goes across, and he can mix ups and do all the, you know, and keep pulling them back and hitting them and yank them back and whatever. But it's just an interesting choice where they have these characters and then they might even use them and reference them in story mode, but decide not to put them in the game in a playable capacity.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, you know, it's the gamble, because you know Capcom is only going to put probably at most like 50 characters in, you know, 46 or 52
over the lifespan of the game.
And so they have to pick, like, and you know, Cody has made several appearances in games between Alpha, you know, and you have all these characters that were in the Alpha game. Then they get an appearance in maybe a 4, and then you know, 5 come back as the mayor, and now he's got like kind of a different move set and a little bit different, some of his old stuff, but some new stuff. Elena's had some different changes to her kind of, you know, the healing spam in Street Fighter 4, and you know, the final tournaments, and you know, just all that kind of stuff that, like, if they make it and it's too game breaking, or it really impacts the tournament, or it really impacts like the gameplay, to turn it into like a turtle fest, you know, where people were playing Elena, and man, because there was that one guy, I forget, I think he's Korean, and he played Adon for years, and then he switched to Elena. Like, everyone was switching to Elena because she was so broken near the end of the game, where, you know, you'd do whatever and then you'd cancel in the healing, and now you got 40% back, and because you could gain that meter by doing those focus cancels, you could gain meter back, you know, and it was super, not ultra. So, like, yeah, I mean, all that stuff.
I'm gonna tell you, like City of Wolves, one thing that game does kind of let you do, it has a couple of broken characters, like that new character, the Mr. Karate, you know, wasn't but an art of fighting character, but he has something where he can taunt and basically make you overheat. Like this, like, let's just say, like in Street Fighter 6, you know, the drive rush gauge, if you could taunt and you make them lose drive rush gauge, so you burn them out just by taunting. And it's so dirty because you could put it in a combo. Like, you could put it in several combos where you'll do whatever, knock them down, it'll end on a hard knockdown, then you'll taunt right after it. So on top of the damage, now you burning out their meter. Because, you know, City of Wolves, it has it's something similar to the drive rush, you know, gauge in Street Fighter 6. So I was like, that's kind of dirty, you know. And the only reason they do that, because that's that was a thing you could do in the art of fighting games. You know, you could taunt to lower the enemy's key so they couldn't
Yeah.
be special. You know, but
Yeah.
to put it in the game amongst the other characters, I don't know, man. They might ban this character, bro, because that's dirty. And on top of that, he got crazy combos.
Yeah.
And he does big damage.
Well, a lot of times, they'll put in characters in games, and there'll be a boss character that's playable, and or there'll be a character with a mechanic that's unique to them. Sometimes it's not even a boss. Sometimes it's just a certain character will have, like an ability to do something that nobody else can do. And yeah, I mean, sometimes if it's too broken, it could get banned from tournaments, or it could get patched and nerfed. Who knows? Maybe even as far as, there's a couple examples where a character in the story mode has a certain ability, but then when they become a playable character, they don't. The boss character has some crazy shit. Like, I'm thinking, Alpha 3 M. Bison, the boss version of M. Bison, where he does the Mega Psycho Crusher, goes across the whole screen, and it's basically a one-shot, but it's like, that version of Bison was never playable. Like, as far as, like, regular, matchmaking or being able to, now maybe there was a code to play him or something, and I think they made him somehow accessible later on in, like, upper plus, with some kind of code or mod, or where you could either play with them or as them or something. Maybe it was only in a story mode or an elimination mode or something. But yeah, that being said, who knows? I mean, I don't know what'll happen there. I wanted to now, we've talked a little bit about that. What do you think specifically of Tifa? And then there was one comment that was made, and it seemed like everybody kind of missed it. So the producer of Final Fantasy, he was out right before Final Fantasy VII trailer, and that whole 40 minutes of craziness, which looks insane, and I'm so psyched and pumped up because I didn't play the first two. But I want to talk about, before we jump to any kind of other stuff, and I've been playing more Hollow Knight, and that's been pretty dope. But they mentioned something about Tifa, and they said she's going to be able to, and I don't know if it was specifically Tifa, or if it was a new update to the game. They made it sound like materia is going to be able to be used in Street Fighter. Now, I don't know if it's just for her, like that's her ability, is like Tifa does stuff with materia. Like, maybe she can accumulate materia throughout the match. Maybe you can choose, like what materia she has in her loadout or something, or she can summon, Ifrit or Ramu or Bahamut or something as a super, that'd be pretty dope. Or maybe there's cameos. Maybe Cloud comes in and, in the super or something. Maybe she's got assists of the characters from Final Fantasy, like a Captain Commando. Imagine that, like, where, like, she does a command and Barrett comes out and starts shooting, Cloud slashes across. So my thought is, I don't know, it sounded like when the producer of Final Fantasy VII was talking about it, that it almost sounded like he was saying all the characters in the game are going to have materia to use, which would be like a huge shakeup, like a second V trigger or something, where like, or think of the gems in what's it called?
Let's say Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Yeah, like something like that, where
was,
like
that was terrible.
And again,
gem
I don't
system
know
is so
if
broken,
they would.
bro.
Yeah, but again, you're talking materia. It's very similar in appearance and whatever. Who knows? Maybe they were referring to that. I don't know. So your thoughts on that, real quick, and then I'd like to hear what you saw of Final Fantasy VII and your thoughts on that. So
Well, to get it out the way, I still haven't seen anything on Final Fantasy VII yet. I
Okay.
will go and check out some. Or if you got anything recommended, you can send me a couple of
Dude,
videos
just
to check
yeah,
out.
check out Max's stuff. He did
It,
it's
okay,
basically right at the end of his viewing of the Summer Games Fest. So you can either watch Summer Games Fest, the official feed, because it's like the last 30 minutes is nothing but
oh,
Final
okay,
Fantasy. So right after the reveal of Tifa, and then right after that, it's all Final Fantasy 7. And
okay. I'll
then
check it
Max specifically went into tons of shit. And then Max, now this is crazy. Max had the producer that was at Summer Games Fest. He had him over to his house and did an interview at his house, and had the
out.
translator there, and she was
Damn,
translating for him, and he was asking like all these questions from the trailer, and I was like, damn, for real? Like, I mean, I knew Max has some
actually,
influence, and he's a big
yeah.
YouTuber, and he has some ins with, he reached out and at the beginning of the remake, like he's been talking to Square Enix about his love of the game and his passion for the game and his excitement and stuff. But I mean, damn, when you got it like
Yeah.
that, where like you're second on the
I
list,
mean,
like Summer Games Fest, and then Max's house, and then
right.
it's like, damn.
That's crazy, man. I'm proud of the dude. I don't even know Maximilian, but it's like he could have been any one of us because we're all into the same shit. If we just would have got on it, or maybe if we would have got into it earlier on, we could
Yeah,
have been there.
yeah,
But it's cool. But no, but getting back to the Tifa situation in Street
uh
Fighter,
huh,
I actually like it was so weird because I guess everybody kind of wanted her in Tekken, but it was like Tekken already had a Final Fantasy character with Clive, in Tekken 6.
yeah. They
I
said
mean
they
Tekken 8,
said,
I mean,
and
huh?
I'm only going to shortly interrupt. They said in an interview that many companies had reached out to them to see if they could have Tifa in their game, and they
Hmm.
declined like all of them except for Street Fighter, and partly because of the timing, because she's going to release like a couple weeks before Final Fantasy VII drops in spring or whatever,
Oh,
shortly near the window. So it was like it was nothing but publicity and timing and stuff.
okay. All right. I mean, it's cool. I mean, of course they have to. She's one of their most popular characters, so I'm not mad at them for, strategically doing that. But as far as her in the game, I think it's pretty cool. I have no issue with Tifa. I'm trying to think like when I when I look at her type physical and her, the way she plays in Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's the only one I played was Remake. I haven't played the second game, but her
Okay.
combat, she's like a rush down,
Yeah,
type
she's always
brawler.
been a brawler fighter.
Yeah.
If you have like warrior class in Final Fantasy, I always thought of her. Usually, if it's hand to hand, it's
Yeah.
considered like a monk. Is like the hand fighter, where a warrior uses like a sword, which defaults to Cloud, as being like kind of a warrior. But in the
Yeah.
trailer, they show that each character in Final Fantasy has like four types. You can like, and they show Tifa choosing the Black Mage version. So like she's still Tifa, but she has a little bit more emphasis on spells and magic. And like
Oh, okay.
Cloud, you can change to maybe like whatever, more of a maybe a little bit more of a healer, and or like a paladin or something, where you have like self, like paladins in Final Fantasy a lot of times use some magic, light magic, like they can put on protect and shell and stuff like that to lessen like physical damage or magic damage. They can
Yeah.
like cast provoke, which like will the enemy will want to attack you more than your teammates. So like if you have a healer, they won't go after your healer as much if you're using stuff like provoke, and you have more enmity on your attacks, and you control the hate of the enemy better. So
Hmm.
I don't know if they'll have stuff that deep, or if it'll be a little more. I don't know how deep these are going to be, but these are some of the questions that Max
Yeah.
was asking, and so it's definitely interesting. Yeah, I'd love to, talk again after you check it out. And I'm in an interesting spot because I didn't have a PS5 for 1 and 2. And I watched playthroughs, and I was watching, and all the speculation of the story and where does it go and this alternate timeline and how this is going to work. And so even though I haven't played the first 2 games, I loved Final Fantasy VII back in the day. I fucked with Final Fantasy 11 like crazy. I played 8, 9, 10, whatever. But I'm really excited for this game. And this game is going to be basically what we all have been wanting, like the final product of when you're about halfway through Final Fantasy VII, where you get the airship, where you get free exploration of and dude, the screenshot, you are jumping out of the airship and just skydiving to the ground. It's not it doesn't go to a cutscene. You literally are skydiving and then parachuting all the way down to the ground when you get out of it's fucking crazy, man. And so I think it's going to be, Max even asked, is this going to be multiple discs? And so there's a good chance this could be, 2 discs, 3 discs. And for a for a PS5 game to be 2 or 3 discs, imagine how big that is. Probably going to be 200 gigs to download or something.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that, so it might as well just be 1 disc, because it's, because the majority of it, you got to download to the hard drive anyway. Just hope you have enough, room for it. But, so are you thinking about checking it out when it comes out? Or,
I'm getting it for sure. Yeah, I'm getting it for sure. And I'll be probably streaming and, whatever. But I just want to see how the story ends, how and because I didn't play 1 or 2, this is my first experience with remakes. So, as much as I love the game, and man, I would see Max playing and different streamers at the time, right when it came out, and man, the music and the story and some of the shout outs to little things and little nods from the game that whether it be dialogue or the setting or, innuendos to things that, just the implication of things that we know as the audience, but, weren't sure how they were going to portray it in the game. And, dude, the shit is sick. Did you see the thing about the Crazy Taxi remake?
Yeah, Xbox? I saw that Crazy Taxi World Tour, I think.
Yeah, whatever it is. Great. However, so that's crazy. And, who knows? But I guess it's supposed to be console exclusive to Xbox, so I guess I'm not playing it unless I were to somehow get it. Now, I wonder if it's going to be next-gen only exclusive, or if it's Xbox One and Xbox One X,
Oh, yeah.
Kind of the games now, they sometimes will do PS5 and PS4, still.
They might release it though. Who knows? Down the road.
Man, it is raining like crazy right now. So I'm not getting out of my car for another few minutes.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you though. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, going back to Tifa and Street Fighter 6, one thing I remember about the materia system is that it's a lot of it. So it's how are they going to narrow that down to?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. And that's why I think it'd be cool if, with her coming into the game, if okay, so sometimes when they do a collab, they'll do a collab with a universe, right? It's a cyberpunk collab. Sometimes they bring in just a character. Sometimes they're bringing in part of the world and saying these worlds are colliding. If you bring her in and you say that somehow, you already have the shout out, obviously, Kenny Omega and Alex has the one wing super like Sephiroth. The one black wing comes up. So
Yeah.
obviously, this game it might be even crossing into the universe of like maybe she supposedly crosses timelines or comes in accidentally. There's maybe they're in the middle of the final battle with Sephiroth, and it like opens a portal and her and a couple of
I see
them
what you said.
accidentally come in or something.
Yeah.
But if they do materia for everyone, I mean, I don't know how it could affect the game. And if it's just her, then that's probably going to be her gimmick. You know how a lot of characters have some
Oh
kind of,
yeah.
Ryu has his Denjin. Different ones have like a little bit of a gimmick. Juri has her stocking up her stuff to do her little
Mm-hmm.
fireball stuff. Maybe that's just going to be her character gimmick by herself, or maybe
Yeah.
it's going to be something implemented for the whole game of like, this is the new season and it's starting with a collab with Final Fantasy where any of the characters, like when they come in or Sephiroth opens a portal, I wouldn't be surprised if Sephiroth is mentioned. And
Mm.
somehow materia come into the Street Fighter world, where in World Tour you're walking around and you find materia, and if you like get the right ones, that it can affect, maybe you can
Oh
load
yeah.
on two onto your character or something.
Your level 3 be Knights of the Round or some shit.
Yeah, or give you access to like, maybe it'll make it so like you can choose. Okay, I want my character to have access to like a second super, or
Mm.
I can have it so that I have a slightly longer. Okay, here's something. Do you remember Third Strike? Do you remember that if depending on the super you chose, the meter was different length?
Yeah.
So what if they had something materia that like affected it like that? Like, okay, you get access to another super, or you get a different super, but maybe the length is different, or it would shorten the meter, or it would lengthen the meter. So
Mm.
maybe it would affect the gauge of the what's the shit that everyone does, the drive cancel, the green shit.
Oh yeah, yeah, the drive rush
Maybe it would
gauge.
make that regen a little faster, or maybe you'd
Mm.
have a couple more bars of it, or something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, I think it's a lot to think that but the way they worded it in the announcement, listen to it again. Listen to when they say it. It makes it sound like it's a new battle system. And I was like, wait, like for everyone? Or just her? Like, because if it's everyone, it's going to shake up the game a lot.
A lot. And they better do a beta first. Don't just drop that shit because if people don't like it, if you release it, that's not
Yeah,
gonna
but
be
it's
good.
not, I mean, to be honest, it's not just that. I mean, dude, if you make a huge change in the game, you got like Capcom Pro Tour, you got people that are invested in this, you have people
Yeah.
placed already in the Capcom Cup, for the finals and stuff. So, if you change a game too drastically, too quick, it's different if you're launching it under a new title, like, okay, here's Ultra, whatever coming out, but if you're just saying, oh, this is season 4, and I mean, so far we have any kind of info on season 4 other than those 4 characters.
Yeah.
So who knows? It's going to take some breakdown of when, the first character, when she comes out in spring, to see. Like, and I think one character comes out before her. Which most likely, if that's the case, then that's probably not going to be something that's going to affect all the characters. It's probably going to be Tifa exclusive, if that's the
Yeah.
case, where like so-and-so, Cecilia, or whatever, I think the girl comes out in, I want to say like fall 2026 or something.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
man, I definitely want you to see those trailers. It looks sick. I mean, Vincent and Sid and just all different places that you haven't been in the game, and the outcome of the
Okay.
story, and just so much sick shit. I mean, graphics, of course, looking phenomenal.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know,
I'm gonna
man.
check it out, bro. You know me though. Like, to be honest, I want that Phantom Blade Zero. I want that game more than any other game right now. I can't wait for that game to come out.
Is that the one with the girl in white?
No, that's the one with the ninja. It's coming on PS5.
Oh, okay.
Made by I think that Korean developer. And yeah, Phantom Blade Zero. I think
Because
you seen
something Stellar Blade 2 or something.
Stellar Blade. Yeah, that's Stellar
That
Blade.
looked
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
yeah,
good and
yeah. The
kind of
first one
Ghost in the
wasn't bad.
Shell-ish.
Yeah,
Obviously, I didn't play that first one. I mean, again, I don't really play tons of games, but
yeah,
it did look kind of dope, and so I was like, huh.
yeah. That looks pretty. Yeah, part two definitely looks pretty good. But Phantom Blade Zero, I'm telling you probably seen it. Just forgot about it. But yeah, that's what I got my.
What
I
do you
mean, I
think
like.
on what
Hmm?
did you play? Did you play Hollow Knight all the way through? Did you beat it or what?
No, 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 no. I didn't even really play it. No, I was just
Oh,
kind of like, just watched other people play. I downloaded it, but I never really messed with it. See, like I tell you, bro, it's like when I play those type of games, I have to really,
yeah.
get my mind right because I know me, and it's like,
Well, it's
uh,
funny that there was someone in the stream today, and
mhm,
this is probably one of the reasons you struggle with games like this. You know me and like Destiny, and if I'm locked into a game, I'm willing to put in and dump in pretty much as much time as needed to get to where I need to be to beat the game. And so this person was watching the stream, and they're like, "Oh man, like look how many charms you have, and whatever." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And like, and then he was like, "Oh, just climb up the wall." I was like, "What are you talking? I don't have a wall climb." He's like, "Wait, you have that many, and you don't have wall climb yet?" He's like, "How long did you farm for currency?" And I was like, "I don't know, a few hours, like 4 or 5 hours or something." And see, that's the thing. Like, some people, it's too tedious. But for me, it's like, I'm like, okay, well, I want to get that so that I can accomplish this, so that I can unlock this, so that I can be strong enough to go into an area and not feel underpowered or underleveled. It's like that big jump when in Zelda, you get like the next level sword, you get the white sword or the master sword. It's like, oh man, or the blue ring or
mhm.
the red ring. It's like, it just, the big shield. You just feel so powerful,
Oh yeah,
and I hate feeling weak in these like side scroller games where like one hit by an enemy and I'm like, oh shit, I need to go heal and I'm already dead, and I
right.
just hate it. So I
It's
do dump in a lot of time to
to level up.
grinding
Yeah,
and farming money or currency or XP. If I find an XP grind in a game, man, I'll sit there for hours and get like 5, 6, like Symphony of the Night, Castlevania. I had never really played it. I had played it once, but didn't really recall. When I went back and all those Castlevania RPG games on like Game Boy Advance and SNES, and then even up to some of the PS5 or PS2 ones, like the Japanese ones, Lament of
hmm.
Innocence, or I forget what they were called. They were kind of
Like that
three
Rondo of
3D.
Blood.
Yeah, but they were like 3D environments. Like they were,
Oh
and they were amazing though. Like they were
yeah,
so much fun, and exploring around and leveling up, finding equipment. Basically kind of Zelda-ish in a way. And yeah, man, like I really enjoy it. But so
now let me
I've
tell
been
you
playing
though.
that.
Oh
Huh?
no, I was just about to say like, no, the thing with those games, when I say I have to get my mind prepared, see, like, I've beaten Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, the first Lords of the Fallen. I can
Uh
beat
huh.
Souls games. I know how to grind and all that, but like I just like, see, the thing is, playing Hollow Knight initially, I didn't know, like how when you jumped into Nine Souls and you didn't know,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. I didn't know that Hollow Knight had those similar rules too. I found out the hard way, and I was like, oh shit, this is a Souls like Metroidvania. I
Yeah.
was like, do I
For
really want
real.
to put myself through this? Because it's like I just thought I was gonna hop
Yeah.
in and like it was like some Prince of Persia type of
Yeah.
Metroidvania, but
Where you
then
can just keep going and
yeah,
get through it and whatever. But Yeah, man. So, dude, let me know when and then I guess the
Hmm.
Nintendo Direct. I don't know if anything was good. I haven't watched that
Man,
yet, but
I have nothing Nintendo, bro. I wish I
yeah,
had a
I mean, if
Switch.
they put something out, Zelda or whatever, Link, that'd be cool. Something
Yeah,
new, Mario, okay, whatever, or a new F-Zero
bro. I'm gonna
racing
tell you,
game or
man.
something. But
I'm gonna tell you, bro. Don't laugh at me. I have been fiending to play a Mario game. A new, like some of the last Mario game I actually played and beat was Mario 64. All the other good ones like Mario Galaxy and Mario Sunshine, all those games, I never played them. You
dude,
know,
Mario Sunshine was amazing, and it was like, okay, Mario 64 with next gen graphics. Like,
uh,
gameplay felt so good. Movement, you got this water thing, so you're zipping along, and you could like basically belly, like surf on the water with the water jetpack, and dude, Sunshine was amazing.
mm,
If you can find a way to play it, whatever,
yeah,
emulator, through like a Switch, maybe you can download it or
that's what I'm
something.
about to say.
If
I
you
get a
find a way to
Switch.
play it, play it. It was a really fun game.
Okay, thanks, man. I definitely
But
want to check it out. I get a used Switch, the first Switch.
oh, for real?
I don't even need
Nice.
a Switch 2. No, I said I would get a used Switch. I don't I
Yeah.
don't have one. But yeah, shoot, just
All
to play
right,
some of
man.
those
Well,
games.
I'm about to let you go. That was a
All
good
right,
conversation. We covered a lot of topics there. Always
cool.
enjoy picking your brain on, the new stuff or
Oh yeah.
announcements or whatever. Oh, one last thing before I go, and we don't have to go into it deep, but then there was basically two characters that are coming out in 2XKO too.
Oh, and you know they actually showed another Avatar character.
Yeah,
That
I know
tall.
Max had a special with one. He had one on his channel, like a developer, and it was like a world premiere announcement. And then I think there was one other character that they might have shown already. But yeah, there's a girl. There's the one that transforms. We already saw a little glimpse of her, and she
Yeah,
turns into like a phantom form or a ghost
yeah.
form. But then there's the guy. He's like Hades in hell, and he has
I
like
think
a
his name
hook
is Thresh.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, he's kind of
Thresh.
sick.
Dude,
Yeah.
his shit was looking dope, and I was actually in the same boat as Max. Like, and it's funny because I appreciate that he mentioned that. He was like, "Man, my muscle memory to the button layout and all this different stuff," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm right there." And James Chen, same thing, talking about like the struggle of muscle memory to some of these button layouts and like Invincible and 2XKO, and I'm like, yeah, like that's exactly my problem. But that
Yeah,
character looks cool as hell, and I might
yeah.
try to mess around and see if I can struggle enough to like understand how to play the game again. Maybe play like Darius and that guy or something.
Yeah.
Some ass easy character that's not super complicated. And Max was even there's a little part where he's talking about it. If you watch his it's like him watching the footage of the girl and then Thresh. And in one of those videos, he was talking about how like he thought Darius and some of the characters in the game, their hits are very visible, like what the hit is, what's happening, where then other characters, it's like it kind of gets lost in like the way they're animated or like
Oh
the way they're,
yeah.
and it's like you can't even tell sometimes what you're doing or what's going on. It's like, wait,
Yeah.
what's hitting the character? Is it lightning that's coming out of my fist, or is it my fist, or like is it whatever? And so
The
yeah,
light
I'm kind
trails.
of
It's like,
glad that other people have issues with
oh
it
yeah,
too,
yeah.
because I felt like I'm like, damn, am I the only one that's like struggling so bad with this?
Yeah, because if you calling out your assist, I'm calling out my assist while our main characters are attacking, and you got fireballs and light trails all over the damn place.
What do you
And
think of
it's
that new mode they released that they're not allowing in tournament, by the way?
what was the name of it? I forget.
I forget, but it lets you basically have both your characters playing at the same time at one point, almost like MVC1, where you have duo team attack, where like,
Oh,
and you're using both characters. But the thing is, that it lets you do it when you have two players. So then you have both players out there at the same time doing shit and locking, and they were like, yeah, we're not going to allow this, for the tournament, at least not right away. And,
well, don't subject us to it online.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Yeah, motherfuckers are going to be stopping people with that shit. Like, and there's some sacrifice, I forget, like, maybe your damage is slightly less, or there's some consequence to choosing that. But even so, it seemed like it might be OP as hell.
Yeah, that could be broken.
But yeah, man. All right. Well, I'll hit you up like later in the week or on the weekend, and we can talk. Again.
Okay.
I'd like to talk after you've seen some of the Final Fantasy stuff.
Yeah, I'll check it out. For sure. I'll look into it. All right now.
All right. Later.